Hello everyone, and here we have a new story. Before we get to that, I want to ask you to subscribe, like, and be sure to write comments in order to participate in the development of the community. Write how to improve my community, current topics and the stories you are interested in, and much more. I read and listen to all the comments. People write me stories by mail from different countries. There are problems with translation. I apologize for this. I will work on it and try to fix these errors. I want to thank everyone for their support and the people who wrote to me by mail, broadcast news stories. New videos on my channel are published once every 2 days at 7 p.m. Don't forget to put a bell in order not to miss new videos. And now let's go. Hello, I want to tell you my story. Modern men are much more serious about choosing a suit or a car than choosing a wife. As a result, more and more marriages end in divorce. Children grow up without parents and become unhappy people. I don't remember in which book I read this expression, but it completely corresponds to reality. The reason for the divorce is the betrayal of one of the spouses. If girls accuse a man of infidelity, in general, everything is clear. The cable not ready for a family. But not everyone condemns female infidelity. Most often, female infidelity is justified. What pushes a girl to cheat? There are a lot of excuses. My husband is a tyrant, does not see me as a girl, does not love me, does not satisfy me in sex, and so on. The reason is the lack of love and the absence of butterflies in the stomach. When a girl changes, her brain turns off. The girl does not think about the consequences. She lives by her feelings and emotions. In my opinion, female infidelity is much scarier than male. The girl who cheated on a man destroys everything. Family, the souls of children and parents. First of all, she destroys the soul. All infidelities have one thing in common. About them, we'll find out about them sooner or later. And most of the girls' infidelities end the same way. It is very rare to build something new. It is impossible to create new happiness on the mountain of abandoned people. After a while, the second stage of treason begins. This is an attempt to return to the family. The girl begs for forgiveness. Have you heard these words? I only love you. I'm a stupid girl. I can no longer live without you and the children. In general, the finals are different here. Someone takes the prodigal wife back and someone does not. But regardless of the ending, there will never be happiness in such a family. I married my beloved girlfriend at the age of 20. My girlfriend was 19 years old. The life to come seemed clear and cloudless to me. Our relationship developed observing all the canons of the genre. We met at my friend's birthday party. After a year of our relationship, we got married. She was my first girlfriend I fell head over heels in love with. My parents were against our relationship and especially the wedding. I told my parents that I would pack my things and go to her. In general, we made a wedding. A year later, our son was born. A daughter was born 3 years later. I loved my wife very much, and every year this feeling became stronger. I had no reason to suspect my wife of cheating, because my wife never gave reason. I trusted my wife without hesitation. Like everyone else, we sometimes quarreled. But our quarrels did not cross the boundaries. We quickly found a common language and reconciled. So I lived with my wife for 17 years. Then, everything changed for the worse. Suddenly, my wife became very hysterical. She made scandals for no reason. My wife has dramatically changed her image. She dyed her hair a brunette. She knew perfectly well that I didn't like this type of girl. She has new clothes and perfumes. My wife began to stay late at work often. She explained it with far-fetched reasons. Our intimate life's gone to zero. Such changes in family life could not happen just like that. I began to think a lot about this topic. I understood everything changed after the reunion. Something happened at a reunion and it changed my wife a lot. I knew several of my wife's classmates. I decided to carefully find out about this alumni meeting. I learned a lot of interesting things about my wife from these girls. As it turned out, in the 10th grade, my wife had an affair with one guy. He was a handsome guy and was very popular. After my wife graduated from high school, she stopped communicating with him because he went to study in another city and married another girl there. He even had a baby. My wife was very upset, but a short time later she married me. As a result, we lived happily until the moment when this guy returned to our city. My wife beheld him at this meeting, and the old love flared up again. In general, a rather banal situation that occurs very often. My wife had sex with him that same evening. Thereafter, they couldn't stop. My wife came up with various excuses to spend time with your lover. She came up with such excuses that any secret agent could envy. I found out the address of my wife's lover. The matter remained small. I wanted to catch my wife on the hot and close this topic. I must say that I felt very bad. I was looking at my wife and I was very disgusted. I didn't want to kiss her or touch her body. Knowing that my wife was fucked by another man did not leave any prospects for further life with her. But before making a final decision, I still decided to talk to my wife. I asked her directly about Lover. In response, my wife made a big scandal. She accused me of all my sins. She screamed that I had ruined her life. In the end, she called me a scumbag. Because I ruined her life and doubted her loyalty, I agreed with her words and waited a couple of days. One fine evening, my wife was late at work again. I took the car and drove to the address where my wife's lover lived. He opened the door for me. To my question, "Where is my wife?" he answered calmly, "In the kitchen." My wife was sitting with one leg tucked up and smoking a cigarette. When she saw me, she stalled me. She started. After she asked me why I came, as soon as I wanted to answer her question, she immediately shouted that I love him. In the end, everything was clear to me. I made one last attempt and reminded her of our children. She said that our children will stay with her and her new man. But she asked me to let the children live with me for a while. She wanted to make a life with her new man. I no longer had the strength and desire to continue our conversation. I told my wife that I would not talk about this topic anymore. That this is our last conversation and I will file for divorce myself. My wife turned to the window. By this, she made it clear to me that our dialogue was over. I turned around and silently left the apartment. It was raining fine outside. I turned up my collar and walked along the way houses. I remember this evening well. It was the last night I was married. My heart and soul ached. Maybe I shouldn't have given up so quickly. Perhaps it was necessary to fight for his wife and bring her back. But something in my heart told me that it all in vain. She won't come back to me anymore. Her indifferent gaze flashed before my eyes. I felt unbearably sick. I bit my lips so as not to cry out in despair. After I got home, I immediately explained to the children that their mother had gone on a business trip. I was afraid to tell the children the truth. Although I understood that the time would come and I would have to tell them everything. But my son asked me if my mother had gone to another man. I just nodded my head at him and he hugged me. We stayed with him half the night. The next day, I filed for divorce. 2 months have passed. Our divorce is not over yet because we were given time to think. The children live with me. My wife was in no hurry to tell them about the new father. Then the classics of the genre. One fine evening, my ex-wife came to me. She announced to me that she had left her lover. According to her, she realized that she loves me very much. She said she was a fool and told me to do whatever I wanted with her, just so I can forgive her. I listened to her pleas in silence and calmly explained to her that your husband died that night in your lover's apartment. I added that I would not interfere with meetings with children, but I will never live with her. My wife looked at me with tears in her eyes. I saw pain and remorse in my wife's eyes. I restrained myself with the last of my strength and my wife left. That evening, she drank a lot of pills, painkillers. She tried to commit suicide. But my wife was lucky a neighbor found her and called an ambulance. The doctor saved my wife and her parents took her to their home. She called several times and begged for forgiveness. My ex-wife's mother came to work for me. She tried to persuade me to forgive her daughter, but I was relentless. It was difficult for me to restrain myself because my heart and soul hurt very much. I can't put it into words. My wife lives with her parents and regularly visits the children. She's trying to establish a relationship with me. She hopes that I will forgive her and we will be together. Yes, I want to forgive her, but I can't because cheating is not forgiven. That's the story. If you liked it, give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new videos. Now we will turn to the advice of the author of the channel. the opinion of the author of the channel. By tradition, I want to wish strength and patience to our hero. After listening to your story, I can say that you made the right decision. I agree with you in many ways. Don't look back and keep building your new life. Your wife has made her choice and there is no turning back. Time will put everything in its place. You will soon feel relieved. Try to occupy yourself with something. Hobbies, work, your children. Children are the most important thing in our life. I wish you happiness and you will succeed. Perhaps you will be given good advice in the comments. If you have watched to the end, I want to say thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you for joining me on this exciting journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. I appreciate your support and encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this story. Your participation and feedback are invaluable for shaping our content and promoting mutual understanding and community growth. Until we meet again.